Welcome to Morning Markets. This is where I do a quick 10-minute wrap up updating you guys on the markets and any potential trades that I'm looking at. So, starting off with Bitcoin. We have FOMC coming up on the 17th of September. So, this week really is pre-positioning for that event. Of course, we got inflation data, so some potential market movers coming up. But overall, it's expected that there's going to be an interest rate cut coming in FOMC next week. So, I wanted to look back at previous FOMCs where we had interest rate cuts. Interestingly, the first interest rate cut was exactly a year ago in the September meeting, and Bitcoin finished green for the day on FOMC, so price reacted bullishly in favor of the interest rate cut, and it built a nice base before you had that dump to 50k on the Japanese yen carry trade fears. Everyone was losing their mind, but really Bitcoin just ranged, built a nice base, had a higher low in September which never got hit. I deep dive into that in the weekly outlook and monthly outlooks. Make sure you check them out for a higher time frame view, but overall, the day reacted green and you've had a nice base before. So that leads to a lovely uptrend. You then had another cut in November where price was breaking out of a multi-month range here where liquidity was untouched. There was no ugly sweep like we had here. I know you can't see the line, but that was the sweep. If we remove this for a second, you can see liquidity got taken and used for distribution as breakout buyers got sold into. Whereas in this beautiful range here, liquidity kept on building up. It kept on building up with all of these highs remaining untouched, and then eventually they all get blasted through and trigger a bunch of short liquidations. So that's smart money using liquidity to propel price higher instead of to distribute and use it as exit liquidity. So that was again a bullish rate cut. But if you look at December, this rate cut finished the day red instead of green, and green like September and November 2024. And what that led to was the top on Bitcoin. And of course, as you guys know, it was met with this sweep. So price action also told you that the markets are doing something different here. It's not what we've seen before. Liquidity is being used as exit liquidity, as distribution. So we got that big red day on the rate cut, led to this ranging before a breakdown. So it's yet to be seen. Will this upcoming FOMC lead to a green day or a red day? Have we built a nice enough base there? And that's really what this pre-positioning is going to be all about this week. And almost what you want to see is not for price to have a really sharp rally this week, because that then just clears out a bunch of resistance and short positioning to the point where the interest rate decision, even if it's a cut, can likely lead to a dump like December. And you do obviously have that sweep over here. However, this sweep has already happened. We are trying to bottom out. So if we don't see a big squeeze, we don't clear out resistance before the meeting, and we actually, potentially come up, take this, hit the value area low, set up a base, well, now you're building higher low structure as we did previously. As you can see, what was this? This was building higher low bullish structure going into the meeting and continuing it after the meeting. Every uptrend is higher highs and higher lows, and that's exactly what you have here as well with the higher highs. So that's really just what you want to see from here. You want to see price be able to build some sort of base where you have those higher highs and higher lows going into the meeting and even after, because then you can see a sustainable rally. This would be what I'd want to see, but of course we don't get what we necessarily want in the market. We have to play it as it comes. So a big violent short squeeze before FOMC, I'll be more inclined to think that it's a sell the news event. But if we actually build a nice base, then you're looking at potentially this building up for a nice rally in Q4 in September, building that base as I talked about in the weekly outlook yesterday. So when we go to lower time frames, what are we looking at specifically today? So get some EMA bands on here. We've got the daily 50 EMA. That one's interesting. 12 and 21 EMA is on the 4 hour. They are currently green. If we can flip this daily 50 EMA, as you know from the weekly outlook, current trades I'm looking at is potentially a short on the first test of this value area low. That can just simply be a little scalp, little day trade. Doesn't have to be a multi-day swing trade. But the trade I'm more confident in is if we get a flip of the value area low, which will be a flip of the 50-day EMA and will most likely flip the daily 12 and 21 EMA bands green. I'm looking to then get long, trade it to the POC or the value area high. And this would be the preferred path. And look, it can come anywhere. It can still play out with this red path and follow the green path after and potentially take a trade later on there. And that would be nice as it builds again that higher high, higher low structure where you can then look to get in and trade towards the upper end of this range. So that's the kind of structure that I'm looking for to set up trades today. While we're below this daily 50 EMA, no real interest in longs here. I do think we're going to take out last week's high over here. That looks pretty set to get hit now. We're seeing this early Monday move. You know, often don't trust Mondays, so it can be good to let today play out. We are consolidating right at these daily 12 and 21 EMA bands, which often leads to a rally when you start consolidating around them. See if I can show you some prior examples here. So let me just see. So here is a good one. So when you start to consolidate around these bands, you tend to get some relief and a nice bounce, even if it then leads to a sell-off after. And again, spending 1, 2, 3 days consolidating within these 12 and 21 EMA bands. And this is on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So New York session open, full trading days, getting that low volatility squeeze in the bands often leads to a nice move up. Again, could get sold into after, could lead to nice high high and high low structure. That's yet to be seen, but that's what I'm expecting here. Very much can hit those highs. And from there, we're looking to see, does price reject? Can we build a base? Or are we going to see a big short squeeze? But until then, not much of interest trading within this chop where price is really going nowhere. Save your bullets for those easy trades on Bitcoin because good periods are coming. You don't want to waste your ammo before we're about to get into those good periods. That's just FOMO because anyone who's been around with me, we've traded from the very bottom of this tariff rally all the way up to the highs. We were range trading throughout this in December and January. We've made an absolute killing. It's only people who have just got into the cycle, have just joined in now that are trying to FOMO in and trade this absolute chop because look at Bitcoin. What has it done here? Absolutely nothing. I mean, it's a 3% range for the last week here. Just no real good setups here. And at the end of the day, until this low is taken, Bitcoin is trying to bottom out here and trying to stop this downtrend, which we've seen momentum is weakening. You had your big momentum push here. You then had your second push, which made a marginal low, not as big and violent as the first push. And then you had your third push, which could barely make a new low. So you see momentum is waning on the bears. Bulls are trying to find support. As I mentioned in the weekly outlook, you're seeing support at that 12 and 21 EMA band potentially come in here. That's what bulls are attempting to do. And the confirmation really comes from flipping these daily 12 and 21 bands green, flipping that value area low. So low time frame, no trades until we can see some of those confirmations arrive. There's just nothing interesting within this 3% chop. And I advise that you also don't get chopped up. So when we look at the data, zooming in here a little bit, go to something like the 4 hour. Let's look at the open interest, look at CVD, look at the funding rate. So open interest is longs and shorts. So price has really not been doing much at all. We've actually seen open interest net down, so minus 2%, while price is, let's take it from the same point. So over here, price is actually up 3.5%, open interest down 1.7%. So positions are closing on net here. So potentially you're seeing this is just some sort of short squeeze. Again, we're not bullish until we can get above last week's high, till we flip those daily 12 and 21 bands and that value area low. It is still a corrective move. We are still in a cautious period where Bitcoin is trying to put in a bottom, but there's no confirmation yet. So positioning supports that. So far, it really is just a squeeze of shorts and there's not much interest building here, but that can be good if that means it's spot led. But at the moment, funding rates are neutral. We're seeing the red, which is CVD. So this is market orders on the futures side, is leading this morning's move. So this is futures led, whereas green spot is flat. So this move this morning has really been led by futures, and we'll zoom into the 1 hour now, where we've got price up 0.83% and open interest up 1% in the London session. So it's actually not too unhealthy. I mean, it's pretty even. You're not seeing futures get too excited. It's just that it is a pure futures led move, which is okay as long as price is rising. But what you then want to see intraday is to not lose this low at 111.7. You want to see price continue building these higher lows that we've had here. So as you can see, it's higher low after higher low after higher low. And you don't want to see this change. So this is kind of your interim sign. You don't want to see price go below 111.7 for any extended period of time today in the New York session, and especially not below this 110.7k level. So you don't want to see that higher low break, or we're likely to then take out some of this liquidity over here that's been building up. So you want to see price maintain respect for these higher lows intraday today. And that is really it when it comes to Bitcoin. So we're seeing this nice push up as we've had a nice consolidation in these bands. Let's see how high this move can go and if we can build a base as we set up that pre-FOMC positioning for the week. When it comes to Ethereum, really nothing of interest here. We're just ranging between this high time frame support level and the all-time high. That's the best you can hope for with Ethereum here, to hold this daily market structure level. If we of course lose that level, then you enter this range again, and Ethereum might have to reaccumulate before building a base for later into the year, into a Q4 rally. So that's what you're really looking at. You've got two different ranges for Ethereum. Currently we're in the upper range, so just watch for price to consolidate. Trade the momentum when it breaks all-time high, because that's when momentum comes in. Right now momentum is stalled as sellers have showed up. And if we lose that range, then look for Ethereum to hold anywhere in this cluster where bulls supported price, which really just enters Ethereum in this lower range. But for now, we're still in the upper range. Just let it play out. Again, if you're trading Ethereum here, what are you doing with your life? Go backtest, go build systems on a volatile asset. It's a 6% range. Price is absolutely just chopping and going nowhere and just wrecking people. No good trading that. What's more interesting is Solana. So actually, what I've been mentioning for quite a while is these daily 12 and 21 EMA bands on Sol. They've been getting respected, and so far looks to be set to make a new high here, which is great. GM to anyone who's been playing my analysis on Solana, catching the support at these daily bands and playing the moves. That's been working out amazing. And as I said multiple times, the invalidation of the bearish setup, this triple top on Solana, was getting back above it. And that's exactly what we did here. And now we're building with support at the daily bands. That's how you play your trend following systems. You find your EMA band support and you get long when price hits into it, if it's being respected, as it is on one occasion, two occasions, and you've got more, you've got 3 occasions here. second or third, any one of those moments you could have got long, and you get this lovely move now playing out where I'd expect Sol to now flip this level and keep on building new highs. And from there, you really just want to see Sol continue to respect these EMA bands as we go along. Let's draw them out here. Obviously, they're not going to look like that, but you guys get the point. These bands will be green as well. And any pullback into the bands, you want to see them respected. If they get disrespected, then you move on to the 50 EMA and you look for that as your trend support. Let's say price actually goes for a deeper pullback. Well, then you look for that EMA to get long and ride the trend with a target of potentially this previous all-time high from all the way back in 2021. So that is Solana. Shouldn't go back below the yearly open here. Should remain bullish, should keep that 12-month candle green if we're going to see higher prices. I don't think we need another fake out below. We've had more than enough time spent below it, and that's why you're seeing Sol outperform here. And it's especially because ETH has hit all-time high. Money's rotated from Bitcoin to ETH, and now Sol's getting the shine. Something I've been highlighting for some weeks now, and it's playing out pretty beautifully. So great to see that. Really just play the trend as it comes now on the daily time frame. That's what's being respected. No need to flick to the 4 hour because this is all chop. This is range trading. Sure, maybe the 50, 100, 200 4 hour EMA, you can find respect there. I can see the 100 EMA and 200 are the trend support on that time frame. You can use that, but if you zoom into something like the 1 hour, you're just seeing price chopping and ranging. There's no trend support here. So it's that 4 hour and daily trend to follow on Solana. Got to know your time frames when using trend following systems. Gold, moving on to that. So gold is king. As I mentioned in the weekly outlook, that weekly close should lead to higher. And so far, we're seeing a nice move beginning of the week. As always, can't trust Mondays, but so far, so good. Wait for the New York session, see if New York bulls follow through and keep price going higher. And what we're seeing is the 1 hour 50 EMA trend is what's being supported here on all dips. So expect that to continue. If it fails, then look to the 100. If that fails, look to the 200. And overall, you want to see this low hold. So on the daily time frame, what you've had here is an order block getting created, a bullish order block. So on any dips, you want to see gold hold this for continuation higher. Very, very simple. Quick look at stocks. So chopping around above all-time high. We had a nice indecision candle here. So whatever way this candle breaks probably sets up the next big move for stocks if we're lucky to get that volatility. So just watch to see this week, what side we break. Do we take the high? Do we take the low first? And that probably sets up either the up move or the down move ahead. And if we consolidate, well, that just builds up a base for next week going into FOMC. So that is the morning market wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of it. If I should make this a daily series, give me a thumbs up, drop a tag in the chats. That'll be it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.